Defend objective A.
Alright.
See through the wolf's eyes. Sorry, my friend.
So positioning-wise, this is too close in general. Teams generally don't opt to hold the choke. And also, generally speaking, you want to be holding high ground. So because your Hanzo is a hero that like naturally takes and holds high ground well, you want him on the high ground that's hard to access, which is this one, right? The center, like, I don't know what you guys call this, hut. But if he can climb these walls, he can play this area relatively easily, right? And he's safe doing it, right? So because he plays this high ground, that means you want to take the other high ground. So either you play way back in like these high grounds, in which case you should probably play Widow, right? Anyways, but if you're gonna play McCree, like you can play like this close area, right? And fall back to these stairs, or just start here where Louis is initially, right, as Hanzo, and this is your spot, and Louis should play over here, right? This is too close, for a number of reasons, but mostly in that like if they're running dive, they just get to you immediately, and you never want to make it easy for like aggressive heroes to get to you, right? Like a Doomfist or a Genji or a Tracer or like dive in general. And also like if they're running like rush, right, you're still too close, right? Because they get to you too easily. So they just like they all came this way, and you were just still hanging out in this area. They would just like slambulance into your team, and then next thing you know, like they're right on top of you, the Reaper's shooting you, and it's just miserable, right? So you want to avoid that whenever possible. So just start high ground, and then if you want to drop low ground later, right, you can, right? You can even drop through here. You're still in an elevated spot, right? But yeah, so again, start high ground, decide later. This is a big red flag, by the way, whenever you see Louis come out this door, right? Because now... Oh my god, the sound's not going to go away. Because now you and Louis are in the same spot, right? So both your DPS are pressuring the same angle. And also you both are and have no healing, right? So at this point, realistically, I know the high ground's good for you, but with Louis already up here, right? So as soon as you take the shot, you should like consider just like going down, grabbing the Mega, and playing the lower angle, right? And then playing more with your team and trying to see if you can set up a crossfire in some way, right? Alternatively, you start walking around the side, but this is a very long flank, right, with like minimal results. So again, like you want to find something actionable, fast that like separates you two. Louis, one of you guys should do this. It doesn't really matter who. Again, I think there's an argument for both of you guys to stay up here. Like, your hit scan, you're much more reliable on this angle because it's relatively long. But Louis is again a hero that generally prefers high ground and can still play from longer range. So it's up to you. You can also, instead of dropping down and grabbing the Mega, you can also just like cross over here. And now you're still in high ground. You have a different angle from Louis, right? And you can apply different kinds of pressure, right? But you do want to split up. So if that's you telling him to like take a different angle, or like you just taking a different angle, right? It doesn't really matter. You guys just need to take a different angle. Oh no, you're both so low. Yeah. So again, like as a result, this D.Va flies at you. And she gets 2 for 1, she suppresses both DPS at the same time and kills one of them, right? And that's never a value you want to give to the D.Va, right?
Push on. Let's hustle.
Back in the saddle again.
Alright, so this is your golden opportunity to flank, right? So you're late to the fight. Everybody else is already fighting, right? This is when you just walk all the way around and go find a free kill, right? Because you're McCree. You can do that. Your only other option, so realistically, again, you don't want to go with your team. Your team is like the angle you want to avoid, right? So what you should do is either go flank, or as you're coming out of spawn, go high ground, right? I would recommend this more if you had high noon. If you had high noon, going high ground is almost always the best play here. But because you don't have high noon, like it's a toss-up on whether or not you should go high ground or going to flank. So in this case, you see this on as late, right? And you know that the enemy team's already committed to point, right? So you might as well just go hard flank, right? Just go kill them. This is good at doing this. Just be faster. Good. Hold on. Alright, so for flanking, take the time to line up your shots. You hit a headshot early, right? But don't forget to just like roll in and go for a flashbang. Oops. So A, you probably shouldn't take this route around, right? You should probably just like take the most direct path to get there, right? Because again, like no one knows you here. You're just trying to take the most direct path to have impact because your team is losing on point, right? You don't necessarily know that, but again, you want to have the impact in the fight as fast as you reasonably can. So just take the most direct path to get there, and then like start jumping up if she's like still hiding behind the thing, right? and then just dive bomb her with flashbang. Second, when you do get a look at her, don't take the shot immediately. I know you hit this headshot, but you want to get as close as you can, right? So just start walking at her, right? So if you, whoops, wrong POV. Can't find her. There. So before you hit this headshot, I don't think she knew you were there. Oh, okay. So you caught a glimpse of you. But still, you want to get as close as you can before you take that shot. And then again, don't be afraid to just roll and go for and just open up, right? Like fan the hammer even at close range. Just like make sure you kill this guy as fast as you can. Yeah. And once you get this, right? Like again, either commit for a flashbang quickly, right? And then go for like double headshots, right? Don't take this extra shot like you took an extra shot before that. Right? Either commit to the flashbang early because you're going for a kill here. You have to get a kill. Or just run away. Just back up, right? And start playing this half of the fight because your team all backed up in your direction. If you just shoot this Doomfist, he'll probably die, right? If you're just playing over here. So either like commit for the kill, or play for the play for your damage, right? And just play to live, because you already forced the on a cooldown, right? I believe she used her sleep too. Yes, no, maybe so. No, she didn't even use her sleep. Wow, she's brave. You burn the auto nade. You're forcing a mercy pocket. You're making this mercy scared, right? People are whenever you're flanking, people are gonna like turn to a call out, right? So when you're flanking, people say McCree behind, and then people turn, right? So like again, just like if you're not prepared to suicide for a kill, right? You need to prepare to back out, right? So if you're going flashbang, right? Start like headshotting and start backing out this way, because again, you want to play this side of the fight because your team's getting pushed back, and you know the fight's moving this direction because this on just ran around the corner, and you can also see it through the wall, right? So you know your team's getting pushed back. This should be a rough feeling based on like audio cues as well. So if you back up, like you'll pretty neatly like meet your team and like help fight, right? So that was a long way to say either like commit for the kill or back out, right? There's no like hold up. Right? So that was basically the worst outcome. Like no kill, still died. It was very unfortunate.
Back into the mix.
I sighted the enemy. Objective lost. Defense point. Objective B.
Back in the saddle again.
Meteor strike!
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
This is fine, but you want to transition to high ground at some point, especially when you have high noon. So again, like when you're rolling out a spawn, like the decision to roll out this way is kind of questionable, right? So if you're coming out of a spawn on the left side, you just want to start going up the stairs, right? And I know it takes a while, but again, like nothing was really happening. And like it ended up working out this way that like when you went here, the Doomfist decided to land here for some reason, and you provided a flashbang, which is kind of nice. But just keep in mind that like you generally want to pat the high ground, right? And when you kill this Doom, and this guy gets away, right? And you use the high noon, right? And the mercy reses, blah blah blah. Like it's time to start rotating again, right? Like so, like we made a contribution, right? We broke the Rhine shield. We tried to kill the mercy at least. It didn't work out, right? It's time to rotate. So we just start going this way. We get up the stairs, and now we're in high ground, right? Oh my god, my camera. But yeah, your goal is pretty much always to get high ground as McCree somehow. Low ground McCree just feels terrible.
Hordes and Crusaders!
Can't get kills. So you should go. If you want to chase kills, you should just commit. Right? Just like call your Ryan to come with you and just like walk up and try and kill someone, right? If you're not going to, you need to take high ground right now. So there's a lot of high grounds you can take. You can play this high ground because it's close and an easy setup for flashbang. This is my preferred one, and it lets you transition easily to the backside if you're getting pushed, right? Or even all the way around, or you can start here initially and then transition over there later into the fight, which is always viable, and you get some early poke this way. Or you can play like the right side of the map and deny this flank, right? Just keep in mind that you don't have easy healer support for the most part. So you're either playing the mega underneath and going back up the stairs, or you're like peeking these edges, like these ledges for healing, or you're committing to like, or you're playing the really back half of this, and that way you're playing this high ground and this mini, right? And you're just trying to deny the flank. The nice thing with this high ground is people very rarely expect it. So if you play in here, again, like if you see someone coming from there, it's a different story, right? But if no one knows you're here, you can just play here, and then get surprise flashbang kills, and people never expect it, right? And you can take the elevator to get you all the way out here if you need to, from high ground. And then like again, you can play the backside of the point, or the backside of their push later into the fight, and then potentially either grab the mega or go high ground again, right? But again, the standard way is playing this left side to like back high ground. This is like your standard spot. It's just very strong overall. This high ground is very close to them for easy flashbangs, and it's connected to the rest of the high ground and easy to get healed. But you really should be on this high ground in some capacity. And your Hanzo should also be high ground. And your Lucio should also be. Most of your team, most of your team except like maybe your Ryan should be high ground right now. There's even an argument for your Ryan. Yeah. Be careful. Okay, so one thing I notice you do a lot is like you kind of walk into people to aim, right? Just to make it easy on yourself. But then like you just walk away from your cover, right? So again, you're not playing a position, right? You're just playing a spacing. And the most ideal positioning is when you're playing a position and a spacing, right? So that way, like, if you need cover, like you have cover, but also you want to maintain your spacing, so you're not relying on the cover to save you against a Reinhardt at point blank range, right? So as the Ryan moves forward, you want to move back, but you also want to rely on like cover, right? This is not very good. Moving out here is even worse, right? If there's a wood up there or an Ash with a Mercy Pocket, you're just kind of dead, right? You want to avoid getting picked like this in pretty much every circumstance. And like there's cover convenient on your left that you can use if you just like used it, right? So. So the problem with not having high ground is now you don't feel safe extending out, right? You're using your Ryan as cover. Your Ryan doesn't actually have a lot of pressure for coming from the sides. Like this is good from Holland to hold down the middle spacing. I hope you. Okay, you probably should use bubble here. I don't know if you use it. He doesn't. Okay. Regardless, like we kind of have pressure on this side, but it would be a lot more pressure if you were just like right here, right? Like imagine this Ana trying to walk up, or the soldier trying to like consider what to do if you were just standing right here and threatening to kill them at any point, right? It would invite a diva to come to you. So instead of like this diva like DMing the Ryan so your flashbang doesn't get through, now the diva has to DM you and fly at you, and you just roll away and you're chilling, right? If your Lucio plays with you, you're totally invincible. Like this diva will never kill you like ever, right? And then if she messes up at all, you flash and kill her, right? And if she like turns away and starts leaving, then you flash the Ryan if he overextends while this is going on, right? And then like it's freebies, right? Freebies all the way down. So again, play high ground. It's way stronger than playing like this low ground angle where all you can shoot is a Ryan, right? As McCree, like shooting tanks is okay, but you'd really rather shoot anyone else because you can actually kill them really fast. Just like 2 taps, right? Or even 3 taps. But like with tanks, you really can't do that, right? Again, you should be using this time to take high ground, right? The spot where Louis is at is really where you should be at. You should take a different angle because the character is mobile.
The power of destruction.
But again, if you want to take the more aggressive angle just by flanking, like you can, and let Louis take the more conservative angle. Take high ground. It'll go a long way. Right from here, like it's very easy transition to just start going up these stairs, right? And now you're on this right side high ground, and you can still go for these aggressive plays, aggressive flashbangs and stuff like that. But you'd be doing it from like a high ground position, which is just better.
Enemy contact.
This Deadeye is kind of bad because they're not actually committing to anything, right? So if you time this for when the Ryan just start dropping, right? As soon as the Ryan drops, then you high noon from like, I don't know, back here or like back here or just like anywhere really far away. If you just time this high noon for when the Ryan dropped, then they're committed, right? And now they have to make a decision on whether they leave the Ryan out to dry as your like Ryan walks into them, right? Or like risk getting blown up by your high noon if their diva mistimes it, right? So again, for high noon, you want to time it for when it's not easy to run away, or when them running away opens you a lot of space, right? So in this case, we're on defense. We don't need the space that they're giving us if they back out. So it's not a useful high noon, right? Because it's not creating a catch-22 for them. And if they back out, like we don't get anything from it. So we get a Rhine shield. That's fine. So, like, obviously, us losing control of the platform and then getting like nanovisor is not really something entirely control. But at the same time, like, you're going to get stuck here. You're going to get trapped by the nanovisor. Like, if you look at all our squishies, they're all on low ground. They're all trapped by the nanovisor, except for the Rhine, who's trying desperately to get away, right? So, like, everybody's stuck in a terrible situation. And, like, you're sort of, like, it's not really entirely your fault, but you're also not helping the situation by being down here with them, as opposed to being, like, some high ground spot where you can pressure differently or not be caught by this, right? So, poor positioning all around from everybody, but, like, again, like, don't contribute to the problem. They get a clean wipe, they should capture, I think they do.
Repeat your strike. Hordes and Crusaders!
Touch, go for the backline, I like this. Again, just like, be more patient with this, right? Like this auto's like twitching back and forth in front of you for several seconds. Is he T-posing? No, okay. For several seconds before this was going on, right? So just take the time to like walk out either behind or in front and just line up some shots first, right? And that way, like, you get just more reliable damage before you give up your advantage to surprise, right? I know you want to have the impact on the fight as fast as you can, but you have impact by killing her in a quick manner, not as opposed to just like shooting her faster, right? Now she gets a base that she's gonna call for Mercy Pocket, right? So she got Mercy Beam already. And it's still my target. Hold this? Holy. Nice stick. Alright, so now within your Tracer, it's the same deal. You want to take high ground. So you want to be either playing, now that you're in Tracer, you want to play this side of the map generally, this right side, because it's like, again, easy access to the flank. You don't have to control this spot. Everybody takes this spot on offense, so you just get here, and then you wait for the supports to start dropping, right? And you just play this side of the map. You have the Mega to rely on. You can take this high ground, right? And if like you need to, right, like you just chill over here. And then if like the enemy supports are still staying on high ground, you have the option to just blink over to them, right? You can like blink across here, shoot them, right? Recharge a blink. And now that they know you're here, they have to worry about you constantly, right? So either they drop, start playing underneath, and you just shoulder peek a couple times, see what they are, right? Like, and then you see that they're still up there, right? You just go blink over there, you go fight them, or you see that they dropped, right? Then you can just kind of do your normal thing, just blink over, take the high ground, start shooting them from above, right? They start playing underneath you, and then you just drop and one clip them, right? But you need to use high ground the power of high ground on Tracer lets you dictate when the fight happens, right? So you decide when you take the fight, and they have to do something about it, right? Either they just commit a lot of resources to protecting their backline, in which case you're like creating 1v3s in the backline, and that's always great because as long as you're not dying, you're forcing a lot of resources and your team should win the resulting fight, right? Or they don't protect the backline and you get a free kill, right? At least. Something to keep in mind, right? So, like, again, high ground lets you dictate the terms of the fight. Use it whenever you can.
My ultimate is ready to be unleashed.
Reinhardt at your service!
This is also a good spot. So that's too aggressive. In the sense that, like, going for pick's okay. But you really only want to do this when you have pulse bomb, or you see like a guy is like standing still, right? So you get like a potential, like a very, you only want to do that when it's a high percentile chance of getting a freebie, right? Because right now, what ends up happening is that you traded like some health on the Doom, right, and a punch, which is a 4-second cooldown with like a 1-second channel, for a 12-second cooldown on recall, right? So now like they take all the map control they want, they know roughly where you're at instead of not knowing where you're at, right? And all you got for it was a little bit of ult, right? Because like they're just going to like heal the Doom, right? He'll be fine. Just be careful taking those trades. You need to be very sure you're going to get the kill, because like what's the difference between like going in, blinking in, and trying to fight this guy, as opposed to just standing here and shooting him, right? You'll probably get the same amount of ult, you hold your position, and you don't lose recall, right? So just keep in mind that like if you're going for like full-on assassinations, you need to be like pretty sure you're going to get the kill, right? And how you know if you're going to be pretty sure? That's when you play ranked, right? That's when you start doing like when like you take a gamble like that to see if you can do it, right? Oh my god, we got the kill anyways. Um, but in like scrims, in scrims, you generally don't want to make this kind of plays until you unless like you're pretty sure, because like the setting up for the engage is much more important.
Down for the
Everybody
count.
being together and being on the same page and fighting at the same time. Right. So unfortunately, you're kind of playing like a McCree position, right? You look at the soldier, you shoot him from low ground, but that's really where you don't want to play, right? Like not really. You'd rather much rather be like up here, right, or like up here at this point. And going around is like okay, but if you run into them, you're gonna be super sad because you have to run away from with a soldier directly above you into a sight line that they might have just rotated to anyways, because they might just like flush you out, right, and then go this way anyways, and then you finally get back here, and the enemy team's you're getting shot by the soldier from above, right? And you rotate back and it's the front line of the enemy team, you're gonna be super sad, right? So going around is just kind of like not super efficient.
30 seconds.
Again, like especially if they don't know where you're at, play patiently with it. Don't let them know where you are, especially when you're flanking. It's really important that that you disguise like what you're doing, make it difficult for them to like know where you are. The more in your face you play as Tracer, the better mechanics you have to have in order to have impact, because you have to outplay their focus, right? Right? Turns out they're not focusing you anyway, so that's something you shouldn't necessarily rely on. Oh, the help was wrong. I was cheating by seeing the help was.
10 seconds remaining.
This will heal you.
What needs a witness?
We live it. Alright.
Round 1.
To my will.
Attack.
Double time.
One
Alright, let's see this Widow.
One kill.
The steel perish.
So Widow is mostly
Ready
aim
for
and
battle.
some minor positioning. Positioning on the Widow is really straightforward.
5, 4,
My
3,
ultimate is
2,
charging.
1. Attackers incoming.
Not much you might know about.
Defend objective A.
I'm under attack.
Alright, so, okay. Whenever you see this, right, so this is why not revealing you have a Widow is pretty important, right? Because now they saw your team rotate and they know you weren't there, and they're just going to run you down, right? So as soon as that happens, by the way, you just need to be running into your spawn, right? So, you take that grapple shot, and then you see your team rotate in front of you, like, you should be like, because A, you shouldn't be that close to the choke in the first place, right, as Widow, generally. So, like, if you're holding your scope here, as soon as you see your team rotate, right, just start running into your spawn, right? Get all the way into your spawn if you have to. Just, like, don't die here. But, they know that you're alone, they run you down. They might not.
Damn.
That wasn't too bad because you took a long time to die, but you need a back. You should expect like someone to push you there if you know they're holding you close to the choke.
Got the chase, love! The cavalry's here!
My ultimate ability
Seem
is charging.
familiar. And I killed you before.
Alright, we're pushing now. We'll scan to the map. Dodge to the map, nice. Alright, keep in mind that people saw us rotate, so they're going to try and meet us here. Okay. Alright, as a general rule, you don't want to rotate the same way your team is rotating as Tracer. You can do it in like a broad sense, but you don't want to go like all the way with your team because it's not really like very efficient. In this case, your team end up following you, so just keeping that in mind that like if your team's following you and coming into this room, you can just kind of sit in this room for a bit, right? As your team goes out this way, and then eventually just walk back out this door because no one's gonna be watching anymore, right? If you look, like no one's paying any attention, right? That gives you free access to this part of the map if you want it, right? But because you actually like saw your team rotating, you're like, okay, I gotta get ahead of them, right? You're now like all stuck together in the same place, right? It's not necessarily bad to do that, but it's not optimal, right? So in this case, you're able to contribute. You pressure the soldier away for a bit, and then you help kill the Genji, right? But realistically, that Genji was probably going to die even if you weren't there, right? And more importantly, like now, like in order to get to the soldier, you have to like go through extreme long flanks, or like blink in front of them again, telegraphing your rotation as opposed to just like, for example, walking across right now and no one's paying attention, right? And it just makes your life a lot harder. Again, like the more in your face you play with Tracer, the more you have to mechanically outplay them.
Watch your back.
Alright, this soldier's going to challenge you. You know 60 seconds to load flanks. Alright, again, he just fuel stations. Right. Again, you have to way mechanically outplay this guy in order to like kill him because like he just knows where you are, right? Soldier over in a second. Yeah, there it is.
I'm going for the moon.
10x. Do it though. Probably one to re-challenge the soldier at some point, right? So after you kill the Rhine and then they get their res off, right? It's probably time to go back up the stairs, right? The soldier can't watch you forever, right? And in any case, like you just want to challenge him, get his heal pad out, go back to what you're doing, grab the mega maybe, and the heal pad expires. You go up there and you kill him again, right? You know there's no res, and the Mercy has to choose between either the pocketing the soldier or pocketing your team, right? When she's in Valk. So like forcing a Mercy pocket would be really valuable, or just killing the soldier outright would be even better, right? But like someone needs to displace the soldier, and your team has no tools to do that besides you. So find a moment to fight to go through. I know these people are low, but like it's really hard to kill people. Eventually kills them, but it just takes probably dead here on the side.
I'm not checking in.
60 seconds remaining.
There we go.
Step right.
Wait for it.
That's awkward.
Something
You probably want to practice your pulses. There's like workshop modes for it. But you seem to have a lot of problems with just sticking in general. So should probably just like work on that for a bit. It's not too hard. Especially like the reliable sticks, like on Reinhardt. Like you really should never miss a stick on a Rein. Like at the very most, you should like hit his shield. At the very worst, rather. Yeah, just some like basic sticking practice if you really want to get better at your Tracer. Your mechanics are pretty good overall. Yeah, a Tracer. The more important thing is like flanking, and then making sure like you wait for your opportunity to go for big damage, right? So what the heck is happening to his leg? It just flipped over. Well, okay. Anyways, this seems to apply for most of your characters. You seem to prioritize like doing damage over like waiting for the right timing to do things. And whenever you're flanking, the timing is everything, not the damage, right? So when you're flanking, oh my god, what's happening? If you're flanking as McCree, again, like it's all about the kill, not about the damage, right? If you're flanking as Tracer, it's all about getting the kill. Hopefully in a relatively fast manner, because if they start getting help, it takes forever to kill them, right? You don't have quite the burst damage of like a McCree. And then again, you wanna get as good of a like opening as you get. If you get a good opening, you just unload on them, right? Like you get close, you come from an angle they're not expecting. If they're moving side to side, you come from the side. If they're moving forward and back, you come from behind, right? And then you just unload, you get a full clip, and they're just gonna die. I think that's all the important points. I'm probably gonna end this here. Yeah, so I think always all you play was Soldier Tracer. I think there was like a little bit of Widow, but that was like very little, so it's hard to say. Or sorry, McCree's Tracer. So again, emphasize high ground. High ground lets you decide how to take fights, right? On Tracer, like especially when you're attacking, try to come from sides that are unexpected. Use the fact that your team's rotating one way to rotate the other when attention is taken, right? Try to hide your location. Same deal with Widow, right? If you didn't reveal that you were there, they wouldn't chase you down, right? And then you would come back later when they've already rotated away from the choke, and now you have free sight lines, and then you're virtually incontestable, right? So, just keep that in mind. And again, high ground lets you choose when to take fights on your terms whenever you want to. And if they don't respect that, like sorry, if they do constantly worry about you on the high ground, right? Again, now they're splitting their attention. Attention's a resource. The game becomes much harder. So let me know if you have any questions, or comments or concerns, and As a quick check to see, make sure you watch the whole thing. When you get to this point, DM me what 7 times 3 equals.